On today's show,
Craziest ending ever. We'll break down the final 13.5 seconds from Game 2 of that Thunder Spurs gong show.
in Up Down, will the Hawks take a game from Cleveland, or is it all in the handshake?
And we'll get you set for tonight's 2 games up in the 6 and out in the Bay.
It's Tuesday, May 3rd. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to the starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast or joining us live on NBA TV or a little bit later on YouTube, we're happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tess Millis.
May the fourth jokes be far, far away from you.
To his right, it's the international man of mystery taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily.
Lily, nice new shirt. And over there, starters blog editor, Trey Kirby.
Hey!
Yo! TK, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #TheStarters, and we've got great news for fans of basketball, nostalgia, and movies for kids. Space Jam is back!
Ooh.
Kind of. As Justin Lin, the director of Fast and Furious 3 through 6, has signed on to help out with the sequel, which of course LeBron James is also attached to. Now, if you know me, you know I hate the who should be in Space Jam 2 question, but now that the sequel is even closer to happening, we have to ask, which NBA players do you want to see in Space Jam 2? We got 5 spots to fill. Sean Bradley, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson, and Muggsy Bogues. A couple of them are super easy because you focus on body types. Muggsy, smallest guy in the league, replace him with the smallest guy in the league. Now he's Isaiah Thomas.
All right.
Same with Sean Bradley, a tall, skinny guy, now becomes another tall, skinny guy. He's Kristaps Porzingis. Things get a little tougher, though. Larry Johnson was an inside-outside forward who brutalized opponents with his strength. Sounds kind of like Carmelo Anthony to me, plus he's buddies with LeBron. As for Charles Barkley, we're looking for an undersized forward who gets under his opponent's skin and talks a lot of trash, so how
Draymond.
about
Yeah,
Draymond
yeah,
Green?
for sure.
The toughest one, though, is Patrick Ewing. We need a big, tall, super-duper sweaty guy. Closest I could come up with is Roy Hibbert.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's just me. We can hear from you. Send us your tweets. Who do you think should be in the Space Jam sequel? Tweet it to us at #TheStarters, and we'll cast this movie a little bit later.
All right, get your tweets in. Guys, fun show tonight. We got the up-down report, and we'll get you set for tonight's 2 games, one up in Toronto, and of course, Game 2 between the Warriors and Blazers out in the Bay. But first, let's talk about last night. The Oklahoma City Thunder escaped San Antonio with the 98-97 win to even up their series at 1 apiece, thanks to one of the craziest final sequences in NBA playoffs history. That's all anyone is talking about today. The final 13.5 seconds of mayhem. And this one had it all, Task. In the end, the clock goes to zeros. The Thunder win. David West can't believe it. Ginobili can't believe it. Hey, Dion Waiters pushed me. Pop, incredulous. It was nuts. This final 13.5 seconds was absolutely nuts. So my first question is a bit of a tough one. What the heck just happened there? What
Well,
happened?
I think this proves that officiating is very, 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 very difficult.
Yeah.
Especially in last-second situations when players push the boundaries as far as they can. Just like you don't call fouls during gameplay in the last few seconds, it's very difficult because guys are grabbing, and a lot of calls that didn't go called here are just so tough to call. The last 2 minutes report said there were 32 calls that the officials had to make in the last 2 minutes. They got 24 right and 8 were incorrect. That's how tough it is, and it starts on that boundary there over the plane when Dion Waiters obviously pushed Manu Ginobili. The referee said, yes, he shouldn't have pushed. Manu Ginobili also shouldn't have been on that line, so there should have been a tech on him first, even before Dion Waiters pushed him. I think the official was looking down at the feet that Dion Waiters doesn't go across. That's why he didn't catch the forearm shiver go into Manu Ginobili.
What is Dion Waiters
Yeah, I mean,
thinking
he's
there,
right
which
there,
is
though,
nuts?
the referee, Mark Davis. He is right on the spot there.
He was looking down, and that's why I think he did miss the sequence there. And Steven Adams goes in, and it's even crazier that Steven Adams gets held up in the crowd and has to throw his arm off. He made a great contest there. It was such a scramble play. They got a decent look for such a scramble play. The Spurs did get the ball, so yeah, they should be upset that Manu Ginobili was shoved. But at the same time, Manu committed that first violation, and that's what happens in the last seconds. Guys think that they can get away with being right over that boundary as the inbound defender,
Yeah.
and it always happens. He was over the line. He should have been called right away. But again, it's so tough. You could call 1,000 things in the last couple of minutes. Guys were crouching and grabbing. You see all the time on an inbounds pass. Guys are trying to get open around picks. anything can be called.
I'm surprised that the referees didn't just blow their whistle and just go and have a look. Just call something, because you can pretty much overturn anything in that last couple of minutes. Mark Davis was right there, and Kenny Mauer also had a pretty good angle. They obviously saw I assume they saw the contact, so I'm just surprised that no one made a call and just decided to go and review it. And then, depending on what they would have seen first.
But what can you review? You can't review a foul.
But you could call the foul. You could say
you can't say no foul.
You can overturn a foul.
No,
can't you?
Yeah,
no.
They didn't call a foul, and people
No, I know,
always
but I'm
say,
saying-
let them play.
Yeah,
The refs
yeah.
let them play, and everything evened out in the end. It came down
All
to-
I thought about here was Manu Ginobili, not that he wasn't going to already, but with this type of move here, getting up on Waiters, instigating Waiters enough to the point where Waiters, who is standing out of bounds,
Yeah.
throws a bow. It just illustrates why Manu Ginobili is one of the craftiest players in NBA history.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing here. He knows, of course, we're trying to create a turnover. We're down 1. We want to get the ball. And guess what? That's exactly what he does. Yeah, there's missed calls and all that, and there's grabbing off the ball and stuff. But Ginobili, he accomplished what he wanted to, and that's why I think after the game when he was asked about it, about the push from Waiters, he says, I don't know what it is, what type of violation it is. There's got to be something, but it's not that play that decided anything because we got the steal, we got a shot, and we got an offensive rebound.
Yeah.
He's bang on there. Mission accomplished,
Yeah.
honestly, from Ginobili's point of view. Going over the line, being much too close. In the rule book, it's ample room. I think we can all agree that wasn't ample room. The refs don't call it usually, as you said, Tass. He got away with it, and he got Waiters to the point where he throws the bow, and unbelievably, that's the one that doesn't get called because the referee's right there, and a guy, again, is standing out of bounds and hits a guy in the chest.
Yeah, it's a gray area, and the players dance on it all the time on the inbounds passes. Manu Ginobili did a good job. He did a very good job. He irritated him enough.
You see a lot of guys standing there, they don't really hustle that guy throwing it in. So he actually did a really good job to the point where it almost got to a 5-second violation on Dion anyway, and then he almost stumbled into the court. So that was good, but he's not allowed to go over that imaginary line.
Yeah, that's why it is imaginary, and that's the problem with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a force field. It doesn't buzz as soon as your hand touches
The referee is right there, as I mentioned. Mark Davis is
He
right
should have seen
there.
it, for sure.
He should have blown the whistle on something.
Let me ask you this, though. Today, of course, Spurs fans, upset by all of this. Do they have a right to be upset? Because, again, they got the ball in a pretty advantageous situation, basically a 3-on-1 into a 3-on-2. What do you think? Because it sort of
absolutely
works.
not.
No.
Absolutely not. Their player committed the first violation, if you want to get technical about it, with Manu. His hands go over the boundary. That's why Dion Waiters gets a little fussy and tries to move up a bit. Then his feet do, and then they got a great shot. They got a decent play. It wasn't their ideal play. Greg Popovich would have called a better play out of a timeout.
He could have called a timeout, is the other
Yeah.
point. I mean, once Danny Green comes up with the ball, he's seeing, and I think any coach rightfully does, wow, we have the advantage here.
Yeah.
Are we going to get anything better than this in this broken play where we suddenly have a 3-on-1, 3-on-2, whatever? No, let's go with it.
Yeah.
But they had a timeout. He could have said, no, bring it back,
Everyone
let's run
lost
something.
their head last night. Maybe
Yeah.
even Popovich as well. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't know whether or not he should have called a timeout, because a lot of coaches do like it when it is like that, a broken, empty play. Just see what can happen. Just throw the ball up there.
Ginobili has a great look.
Yeah.
It looked like he was going to do his patented little left-hand little floater in there.
Yeah.
He decides to pass to Mills, who got a look. I think Steven Adams did an unbelievable job as a big guy to get from the paint out to the three-point line to challenge it. But Mills throws a little pump fake in there, steps in one dribble, wide open jumper.
Yeah.
I guess
think
if I was a
Steven
Spurs
Adams-
fan, I'd be more upset about the no calls on all this junk in the paint here, where guys are
but that
grabbing.
never happens.
No,
I
and
mean,
we just
that-
saw it with DeRozan and Mahimi the other night.
that always goes uncalled.
Right.
I don't think anyone can be upset, and I know Greg Popovich knows he didn't lose the game on this play. He lost it right out of the gate. His team was not ready to fight the way the Oklahoma City Thunder were. He knows that.
I mean, no one is making excuses, to be fair. Everyone's sort of saying, like, you know what, there was a few mistakes, and that wasn't the play that determined the outcome.
Outside of this final 13.5 seconds, what do you think was the biggest factor to OKC picking up this win? And again, we got to point out, Spurs have lost one game all season in their barn. That's it, including the playoffs, of course. Now, too, because the Thunder get the win. What do you think was the biggest factor?
Well, it seemed like the roles reversed from game one. The Thunder were ready to get back on each and every possession. The Spurs weren't. The Spurs made some quick decisions on offense, especially, which turned into bad defense. They weren't ready. They play a very slow pace for a reason, so they can be balanced on the floor, so they can be back. This is a huge advantage to Russell Westbrook if your floor isn't going to be balanced and you're going to rush shots. Russell Westbrook is going to run it down your throat each and every time. And if you're not ready on the defensive end to help, protect, stop the ball, then you're going to get killed because Russell Westbrook was ready. They flipped roles. I mean, the Spurs really looked like the Thunder in game one. They got down 19-6 to start this game. And Greg Popovich said, all right, you guys aren't ready to play. You're ready to give up open shots like that? Have a seat. 4 starters sat within the first half of the first quarter because they weren't ready to play the way they were in game one.
Yeah, those first 6 minutes, 2 for 15 from the field, a ton of fast break points for the Thunder, and then they had none in the second half, basically. That was the game, was the first 6 minutes. Crazy.
The Thunder won this. The Spurs also lost it at the same time.
Crazy game.
Yeah.
Crazy game. This is what we wanted, though.
Finally.
When we get to the playoffs here, what an unbelievable finish. We got to take a break, catch our breath. When we come back, the up-down report will weigh in on Luke Walton getting signed by the Lakers and a whole lot more. Don't go anywhere. Back with the starters into the up-down report, where we figure out where the 4 of us stand on some recent NBA topics. We asked you to do the same on Twitter, hashtag the starters, thumbs up or thumbs down. First one, guys, for one very brief moment, it looked like the Hawks were finally about to break their LeBron curse. But no, Cavs withstood a strong comeback by ATL to maintain their chokehold on the Hawks with the 104-93 victory in the opening game of their second-round series. Cleveland's 8th straight win over Atlanta, including the regular and postseason. So here's the up or down. Are you guys up or down on the Hawks' chances of finally winning a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron in this series?
Whoa.
Everybody believes.
Yeah, everybody believes. I think they're going to get one at home, but they gave up a great chance, probably the best chance that they were going to have in Cleveland.
I absolutely agree with this. We got to almost break this down because they got outplayed for a good chunk of the game, but then suddenly after a big run, Al Horford scoring there, they're up. And that was one of the last baskets you'd see by the Hawks for a long time. And then they just made some mental mistakes. Bazemore trying to close out on Kevin Love in the corner, draws the foul, 3 free throws. Dennis Schroeder, he had a couple bad turnovers down the stretch. And then this, something we talked about heading into this series, the defensive rebounding by the Hawks. Huge possession here. Cavs come up with it, Tristan Thompson first, then again, same possession really. They get it again, and then they end up scoring there. You're right, Tass. This one in Cleveland, I think we all agree they'll win a game. That was there for the taking. Again, despite being outplayed for a massive chunk of this game.
Those rebounds were important, but their own offensive execution just went cold because they were really, really hot when they came back from that big deficit, but then they just couldn't execute at the other end. And coaches sometimes talk, you only need a 3 or 4 minute period of a game to seal it. They got to that point, Atlanta, and then they just they got nervous, I think, because they felt they were actually having a chance. So I think that's okay. Get that one out of the way, game one, but I think they'll be better if that situation comes up again.
No sweeps, no sweeps.
Well, I know the Cavs are going to be better as well because LeBron said we were a little bit stale because of our 8 days off. I totally agree with him because LeBron was caught napping on a couple of occasions. And I say the Cavs weren't that great, and LeBron was incredible in this game, even though he was napping, even though this team was a little bit rusty. That's because this man couldn't be the best player in the world, and he showed it to you yesterday. He was 11-21, 25-9 with 5 steals. He had 4 turnovers with a couple defensive lapses, but I mean, these are just a few of the incredible passes. I had to leave some gems out of this because he was passing all over the place. Kevin Love had a rough night. I think he was the guy that couldn't find his flow. You know, the game ones, LeBron isn't everything he can be. He just wasn't perfect. But he gets a little spice there with Mike Budenholzer. As the series goes on and guys get in his face, he's only going to get better. That's why the Hawks, this was a golden opportunity for them.
Okay, next one here, guys. Late last week, the Los Angeles Lakers hired Luke Walton as their new head coach just days after the team fired Byron Scott. Walton, currently the assistant coach for the Warriors, is going to finish the postseason first with them before taking over in LA. And according to the LA Times, Walton's deal, 5 years, worth about $25 million. Up or down, guys, on the Lakers hiring Luke Walton as their new head coach? I'd be shocked if I see any thumbs down. Yep.
Yeah, last week it was asking the timing about the Lakers firing Byron Scott. We said, some of us, myself, sideways, if they can get Luke Walton, it's a thumbs up. They got thumbs up. They played this perfectly. They knew who they wanted. They didn't care when people were killing them for taking their time, finding their guy, and they finally got Luke Walton, and I like the fit. He's got the LA pedigree. He has won titles with the Lakers. He knows what it means to be in Los Angeles during the good times and the bad. He played on the Smush Parker teams. He played on the Pau Gasol teams. He's been on the ups and downs, and he's coached a young team. He's a young guy himself. I think he's going to be a perfect fit. And it's going to be interesting to see the first branch of the Steve Kerr coaching tree, right? Like to see how it happens, because if he falls under the Phil Jackson, that hasn't exactly worked out for a lot of people.
My only concern for him is this is a market that doesn't tolerate more losing. They're going to be onto him from the start. The expectations on the Lakers is to be successful again, and he needs good players around that for him to be successful. We really don't know what type of coach he is because in Golden State, he had a fantastic team. He did a great job, no doubt about that. But now he's got all the media expectations, all the fan expectations, and not the same roster he had there. So it's going to be a great challenge for him. But sometimes for a rookie head coach, maybe it's a little bit too much for him at the start.
Well, I think he was in a situation that really, really valued player development. And that bodes well for the Los Angeles Lakers because no one was really developed. And yeah, he's a young guy. But I think just like Steve Kerr, who had Ron Adams beside him, he's going to get some vets alongside him.
For sure.
It's going to, they value winning, but there's only up to go from here, right? I mean, if they win 35 games, well, that's a pretty big improvement. And they've got a lot of value in draft picks. I'm optimistic.
Yeah, 2 weeks from today, we'll find out if they keep that top 3 pick. 44% chance that they actually lose it. So we will see. All right, final one here. I think we got time for it. All of your handshakes belong to Kyrie Irving, guys. After scoring 21 in Game 1 over the Hawks there, Uncle Drew checked out, he hit the bench, and then he ran the handshake gauntlet. He's got particular handshakes with every single guy here, even Jordan McRae there. Who? Wow. Yeah, Jordan McRae. Yeah, it's a nice one, too. So what do you guys think? Up or down on Kyrie Irving's Handshake Festival? Let's call it that.
How can you be down? Come on.
Lee, I thought might be down.
He hates fun.
I thought you'd be like, why isn't he practicing his free throws more?
I thought you'd be down because you don't really know how to do the standard NBA handshake.
Yeah, that's also true. But I want to go with Kyrie in practice. Get my own little.
You want to throw one down here?
Yeah, sure.
You should have done with the thumbs. Should have done with the thumbs, guys.
We had to cut away. That was so ugly.
Yeah, quick break. When we return to look at tonight's schedule, including whether the Blazers can even their series. Come on back. The cameras catch everything here on the starters right before the break. Wow, look at that handshake.
You know how many hours of practice we put into that?
Oh my God.
Yeah. It would have been way more awkward if you guys were standing.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we asked you on Twitter, which NBA players do you want to see in Space Jam 2? Because the rumor is it's coming. You hit us up on Twitter. Trey, a few of the best answers.
Yeah, Mike Habegger says Ham Hinkie must be cast as the evil GM of the aliens.
Did you say Ham Hinkie?
Maybe, but only because I was saying Mike Habegger. Habegger.
You definitely said Ham Hinkie.
Ham Hinkie, it doesn't matter, okay? Jeez, Josh Terry says Boban's hands, but as the Monstars' new starting center. Sounds good. And my actual real-life friend, Tom Poro, says a cameo by you guys. If they call, we'll think about it.
Yeah, well, we got to talk to our agent about that. All right. Let's look at tonight's 2 games in the NBA playoffs. It's Game 1 between the Heat and the Raptors. Gets started at 8 p.m. Eastern on TNT, followed by Game 2 between the Blazers and Warriors. GSW leading that series 1-0. Let's start with the Heat-Raptors game. So here, a little true or false questions as we set these up. I'm going to ask you here, Lee. True or false? Dwayne Wade is the best player in this series.
True, absolutely true.
Absolutely true.
He might not be as athletic as he used to be and even score as much as he used to, but when the game's on the line, no one else is as clutch as he is. And we saw that going back to the series against the Charlotte Hornets in Game 6. He hadn't hit a three-pointer since
December,
Christmas, and he hits 2 big ones in the last quarter and then this other big floater jump shot as well. And that's the thing about Dwayne Wade. He's a playoff performer. He's done it his whole career. So if the game is tight and if the game is close, you know the ball's going to him and you know the chances are he's most likely going to either make the right shot or make the right play. He still makes him the best player in the series.
Oh, yeah. With the way the Raptors All-Stars are going, Dwayne Wade, definitely the best. But to me, to get DeMar DeRozan going, to get another shooting guard in this series going, it's on Dwayne Casey. Because as we saw in Game 7, the more dribbles DeMar DeRozan took, the worse he was. But when he was coming, catch and shoot, or put it down once, he was money in the bank, and the numbers bear that out. You got to get DeMar DeRozan like a classic shooting guard, coming off some down picks, coming off those screens where he is money in the bank. And the numbers were broken down here by NBA.com and Raptors HQ. Thanks to them for breaking this down. When he took 0 dribbles, effective field goal percentage was 70%. Money in the bank. But the more dribbles he took, the worse he got. That's why it's on Dwayne. Just get him the ball around those picks.
Looks like you should tell him don't dribble more than once.
Yeah, and have him go towards the basket
That's
as well.
huge. I am just happy as a Raptors fan that they haven't lied out the purple shirts. tonight in Toronto because we saw what happened with the purple shirt guy in Wade last time. I wouldn't want a whole bunch of people in purple shirts. All right, moving on, though, to the other game tonight, the second game of the doubleheader. True or false, Tass, I'll ask you. The Blazers, they need to steal this game before Curry returns to have any chance. They have to get this one.
Well, it's true because they got to win on the road if they're going to win this series. That being said, I think they can still win at home even if Steph comes back in Game 3 because Steph looked extremely rusty when he came back after 2 games off in that Houston series. And that was after only 7 days off. If he returns in Game 3, that's 12 days. That's a ton. And that's in that couple quarters that he played before slipping on the donut sweat. He was 2 of 9, and he had 5 turnovers. He just did not look like himself. And I do think the Warriors want to get him back to get him some reps before they go and play the San Antonio Spurs or Oklahoma City Thunder, probably the Spurs, just to get him those reps because he didn't look great in that Game 5.
Yeah, and for Portland, CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, if those guys aren't shooting the ball well, they've almost got 0 chance. They went 13 for 43 in Game 1. They just have to get it going early. We saw it against the Clippers even when Chris Paul was still there. Once those guys get a few baskets early on, it changes the whole way that they play.
Why do you say that as well? Just because they're going to need to outscore the Warriors because they can't stop them? So
yeah,
they need to win these high-scoring affairs?
Yeah, you don't want to get into a run-and-gun contest with the Warriors, but those 2 guys, if they're not scoring, there's not anyone else who can really fill in that void for them. Alfred Camino and Harkless can add points, but they can't take all those other points that they're not getting from the backcourt.
I agree. All right, TNT doubleheader. Games keep on coming. Heat Raps, followed by the Blazers and Warriors. Can't wait for that. We got to take one more break, but when we come back, Lily shows the kids the very solid play. Don't go anywhere.
Or does he?
Oh. Back with the starters, it's time for Lee Ellis's very solid play. Where are we going, Lee?
We're going to San Antonio. Everyone else was breaking the rules last night, and so am I. This is too sexy for a very solid play, but it's just an unbelievable pass from
What are you
Tony Parker.
doing, Lee?
Watch it, watch it.
This isn't
Don't
solid,
try
you're
this
right.
at home,
This is
kids.
sexy.
You'll get benched if you do that in under 12s. That's what I call a very sexy but solid play.
Oh, okay. Breaking the rules. Can't wait to read the L2M on our show tomorrow.
That's going to be in the top 10. Good stuff. All right, now it's time for the highlight that wasn't Russell Westbrook finding Steven Adams with an incredible pass here. What a great pass.
Oh, man.
Now, it would have been a highlight if it was done on purpose, Russell. It obviously was not. That's why it's the highlight that wasn't. Although before our show, our associate director, Lee Mabry, said Steven Adams' mustache is always a highlight. So for him, that wasn't a highlight. That wasn't. Just a heck of a mustache.
Again, tonight's TNT doubleheader, it's the Heat and Raptors, Game 1 of their Eastern Conference semifinals from the 6, followed by the Blazers and the Warriors. Golden State leading that series 1-0. Best of luck to all those teams. We'll be back to break them down tomorrow. We'll see you 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
All right, looking forward to that. Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, it takes 2 to handshake.
Cool. You always hold on there, Ellis.
Yeah,
Jason,
Jalil
like
Okafor
people.
and me had a
Can't
little
help
thing
but
at the
putting up
summer.
the thumb either.